Linda on line 1. Linda.
Hi. Interesting program that you have on, especially with our country and the state it's in.
No kidding.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mortgage. I've never been late on it. I have 4 credit cards, 2 department stores, and then a Discover and an American Express. I do use them, but I pay them off. Every single credit card I have, I've never paid just a minimum payment on. I pay them off at the end of the month. I've been told that that's not a good thing to do if you're ever in need of major credit. I don't know what that would be other than what I have. But is that accurate information or is that not accurate?
Good question. Okay. So it's not that that's a bad thing to do. I mean, you want to pay your credit cards off. Ideally, remember, available credit, 30% of the credit score, almost as important as your payment history. So having that balance be lower is very good. Now, here's the issue, though. This is the trick. When does your balance get reported to the Bureau? Your balance gets reported a day or 2 after the statement ends. So if your statement ends on August 30th, they're reporting your balance as of the statement ending date. So if you pay it off 2 weeks later, the credit bureaus will never know, because the balance that gets reported to your credit is the balance that you have on your card when the statement ends. So I know people who, especially business owners, and they'll run these cards up all the way every month, and then they pay them off. Problem is, the bureaus never know about it. The scoring model never knows about it, because by the time the next month rolls around, there's more money on there, and when it reports to credit, it reports that as the balance. So you're not doing anything wrong. You want to have activity on your credit cards. Every 6 months, you need to use your credit card for something. I don't care if it's gas, bubble gum, buy something, take it back. You need to use it because you need to keep it active. But paying it off is great. Now, however, if you want to ensure that you're maximizing your credit score, if you're going to do that, what you need to do is you need to make your payment before the statement ending date, or the majority of it.
Okay, so you're saying pay it off before like my mortgage, the last date I can pay my mortgage is the 15th of the month.
Mm-hmm.
I walk into the bank on the 14th or the 15th and pay it off, pay the mortgage payment.
Mm-hmm.
So that I should be doing that more like around the 10th.
For your mortgage, it doesn't make any difference.
Okay, then what about the credit card? So if it's
just the
due
credit
on
cards.
The 15th,
mm-hmm.
then I should be paying it off when, on the 10th?
Well, if it's due on the 15th, then most likely the statement is ending at the last day of the month before. So if your payment is due January 15th tomorrow, most likely your statement ended December 31st. So you would have wanted to pay it off on December 31st or December 30th before the statement ends, so that when it reports to credit, it reports your zero balance and you actually get credit for paying the thing off. See, that's
okay, so it is acknowledging the fact that the credit card was indeed used,
yes,
even though I'm paying it off. Okay, I
yes.
see what you're saying.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
will, because there's activity. As long as there's activity, they're going to report the balance. It only happens if it becomes stagnant and you stop using the card, that eventually there's nothing to report because there's no activity and there's no balance.
Okay, I thought that's what you were saying. So in other words, it would look like there was nothing happening because it's showing on the credit report that it's paid off, but I understand what you're saying now. I have another question,
Sure.
Real briefly.
Mm-hmm.
When I make a large purchase, I negotiate to get 3 months, 6 months, a year, interest-free. Is that an issue, or is it just no big deal at all as far as the credit reporting?
Now, you mean you're applying for new credit, like for furniture or something like that?
Correct.
Okay. Well, typically, you're going to get an inquiry. That's a hard inquiry on that, so you could be potentially affected by that. And the thing to keep in mind is, if you're getting furniture, let's say it's $1,500, they're going to open you a credit line for $1,500, and you use the whole thing. Now you're really dinging yourself.
But that's not what happens. If I open it for, let's say, $1,000,
mm-hmm.
they come back and say, "Oh, you have credit of $9,000."
Oh, okay. So you have good credit. You have a good credit score.
That's what I was wondering. I mean, I'm assuming that it's a perk to have them do that, but then I wind up calling the credit bureau when I get home, or I'm sorry, the credit company when I get home, and I say, I don't want that much. I want only what I'm borrowing. Is that a positive thing? To me, see, it's a positive thing.
No, well, you want that. You want them to give you that extra credit line. You don't need to use it, but you want the extra credit line. Remember, the available credit is the important part of the credit score there. So it's how much is available. So leave the credit line open for $9,000. Just don't use it. In fact, you can cut the card up or do whatever you need to do to make sure you don't use it. But that helps you. That's a very good thing. That's why, the rich get richer and things like that, because when you have good credit, it's easier to maintain it, because you've got that extra cushion there, which helps your score stay higher.
Now, that is something I would have never guessed.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Stay tuned. There's more coming, Linda. I've got to let you go because I've got to run to break. Thank you for calling in. Great questions, Linda in La Costa.